I'm 67 years old, and I need to tell you something that's going to sound crazy. You didn't find this video by accident. And everything you think you know about coincidence, about timing, about how you ended up here right now, it's completely wrong. The people who should be telling you this, the ones who claim to have life figured out, they're either lying to you or they've forgotten what it feels like to be exactly where you are right now. You see, I've been where you are. Sitting there, feeling lost, maybe a little desperate, searching for something you can't quite name, and I'm making this video because I know something you don't know yet. This moment, right now, is more important than you realize. What you do in the next few minutes could change everything. But before I tell you why you're here, I need you to understand what happened to me at 43. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't theory. It's not something I read in a book or heard from a guru. It's what I learned by nearly destroying my own life. At 43, I had what the medical professionals call a major depressive episode. That's clinical language for my brain decided to stop working. I'm talking about lying on my bathroom floor at 2 in the morning, unable to move, unable to cry, unable to do anything except exist in this hollow, empty space where my life used to be. The tiles were cold against my cheek. I remember that. I remember the sound of the refrigerator humming downstairs. I remember thinking that this nothing was all that was left of me. My wife found me there. She didn't say anything at first. Just sat down next to me on the cold tiles. And you know what I remember most? The way the grout lines looked. Sharp, clear, more real than anything else in my life at that moment. Everything else felt like fog, but those lines were solid, concrete, real. She finally spoke. "How long have you been here?" I didn't know. Hours, days. Time had stopped meaning anything. "I can't do this anymore," I whispered. And I meant it. Not in the way you think. I meant I couldn't keep pretending, couldn't keep performing, couldn't keep trying to be the person everyone expected me to be. The doctors loaded me up with medication. SSRIs, they called them. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Fancy words for pills that were supposed to make me feel human again. And they did, eventually. But lying in that hospital bed during the 72-hour observation hold, staring at acoustic ceiling tiles that looked like cottage cheese, I realized something that terrified me more than the depression itself. I had been looking for answers in all the wrong places, for years, decades, my entire adult life. I had spent 20 years searching for meaning, searching for purpose, searching for the one right path that would make everything make sense. And that searching, that endless, desperate searching, had hollowed me out from the inside. I had become a shell of a person, so focused on finding myself that I forgot to actually live. Let me tell you the biggest lie you've been sold. You need to figure it out. You need to have a plan. You need to know where you're going. You've heard this your whole life, haven't you? From parents, teachers, bosses, society, everyone telling you to have it together, to know your path, to have clarity and direction and purpose. And you're sitting there thinking, when I figure out my career, then I'll be happy. When I find the right relationship, then I'll feel complete. When I discover my purpose, then life will make sense. When I finally understand what I'm supposed to do, then everything will click. When I know who I really am, then I can start living. When I find my calling, then I'll feel fulfilled. Let me save you 20 years of suffering with one simple truth. That clarity never comes. Not the way you think it will. You know why? Because you're asking the wrong question. You're waiting for some grand revelation, some moment of cosmic understanding where suddenly everything makes sense. You think there's a version of your life out there that's correct, and if you just search hard enough, think hard enough, plan hard enough, you'll find it. The job that fits perfectly, the relationship that completes you, the city where you belong, the purpose that makes everything clear, the passion that drives you, the identity that defines you. You won't find it because it doesn't exist. Not as this static thing you discover, not as this perfect puzzle piece that clicks into place. I spent 2 decades chasing clarity, chasing purpose. I switched careers 3 times. Started as an accountant because it was practical. Hated it. Went to law school because it seemed meaningful. Burned out in 5 years. Tried consulting because it was flexible. Felt empty. Moved to 4 different cities: Chicago, Austin, Denver, Portland. Always thinking the next place would be where I belonged. Read hundreds of self-help books: The 7 Habits, The Power of Now, Man's Search for Meaning, Finding Your Why, The Alchemist, stacked on my nightstand like a tower of unfulfilled promises. Went to therapy every week for 6 years. Did 2 different meditation retreats. 10 days of silence in the mountains. Trying to find myself, like it was a set of lost keys I'd dropped somewhere along the way. And here's what haunts me. All that searching? It was just another way of running. Running from the present moment. Running from the uncomfortable truth that life doesn't come with a map. Running from the terrifying freedom of not knowing what comes next. Running from the responsibility of just choosing something and living with it. I thought I was being thoughtful, intentional, self-aware. I was actually being paralyzed, stuck, frozen by infinite options and the fear of making the wrong choice. I had a colleague who died 2 years ago. His name was David, 59 years old. We used to have lunch together once a month at this Italian place near the office. And every single time, without fail, he'd tell me about his plans. When I retire, I'm going to write that novel. Got the whole plot figured out. When I retire, I'm going to learn piano. Already picked out the teacher. When I retire, I'm going to finally live. Going to travel. See the world. Do all the things I've put off. He had it all mapped out. 5 more years. That's what he always said. 5 more years and then his real life would begin. He never made it to retirement. Aneurysm, one Tuesday afternoon. We had lunch planned for that Thursday. He never showed up, just collapsed at his desk, gone. At his funeral, his daughter stood up to speak. She was maybe 30. She pulled out his journal. And she read from it, pages and pages of plans, dreams, things he was going to do someday. The novel he was going to write, he'd even titled it. The piano pieces he wanted to learn, he'd made a list. The countries he wanted to visit, he'd created a spreadsheet. And I sat there in that church pew listening to her voice crack as she read her father's dreams, and I thought, he spent 30 years preparing for a life he never got to live. 30 years. 3 decades. 10,000 days of waiting for the right time. Is that what you're doing? Preparing, planning, waiting for the right time to start living? Waiting until you have more money, more experience, more clarity, more confidence, more certainty about who you are and what you want? Here's what keeps me up at night. Not the years I spent depressed. Those taught me something. What haunts me are the years before that. The years I spent waiting for clarity, waiting for certainty, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to tell me it was okay to just live my life without having it all figured out. The wedding I didn't go to because I was working on myself. My college roommate got married in New Orleans. I said I couldn't make it. Too much going on. Truth was, I felt like a mess inside and didn't want to pretend to be happy for someone else when I couldn't even figure out my own life. The friendship I let die because I was figuring things out. My best friend from my 20s. We used to talk every week, then every month, then never. I told myself I'd reach out when I had my life together. When I had something impressive to share. When I felt like I'd figured out who I was, I never did reach out. He died in a car accident 4 years ago. I found out on Facebook. The trips I didn't take because I was getting my life together first. Iceland, Japan, New Zealand, always next year. Always when I'm more settled. Always when I figure out my career situation. I'm 67. I still haven't been to those places, and now my knees hurt and my back aches and traveling is harder than it used to be. The creative projects I never started because I was waiting for inspiration. I wanted to write, had notebooks full of ideas, but I kept waiting for the perfect concept, the one that would justify the time, the one that would mean something, the one that would prove I hadn't wasted my life. I never wrote a single page. The conversations I didn't have because I was not ready yet. With my father, with my brother, with women I was interested in, with friends I'd hurt. Always putting it off. Always waiting for the right words. Always thinking I'd have that conversation when I figured myself out first. The business I didn't start because I was still researching. 10 years. I spent 10 years researching, planning, preparing for a business I never launched. Too afraid to start before everything was perfect, before I knew it would work, before I had all the answers. You think you have time to figure it out. You think there's a moment coming where everything will suddenly make sense, and then you'll start living. You think you're being responsible by waiting until you have it all figured out. You think you're being smart by not rushing into things. You think you're being mature by taking time to understand yourself first. You're wrong, you're dying, right now, today, while you wait. After my breakdown, everything changed. Not because I suddenly figured it out, because I stopped trying to. I stopped searching for the right path. I stopped waiting for clarity. I stopped postponing my life until I had answers. I stopped treating life like a problem that needed to be solved before it could be lived. And you know what I discovered? Life doesn't require you to have it figured out. It just requires you to show up, to be present, to say yes to what's in front of you right now instead of waiting for some perfect future version of yourself to emerge fully formed. I started saying yes to invitations, to opportunities, to conversations, to projects, even when I didn't feel ready, even when I didn't know where they'd lead, even when they didn't fit into some grand plan. I took a pottery class. Why? I don't know. It sounded interesting. I was terrible at it. Kept at it anyway. Met people, learned something, didn't change my life, didn't need to. I called my brother. We hadn't really talked in 5 years. It was awkward. We worked through it. Now we talk every Sunday. Not because I figured out how to be a better brother, because I stopped waiting to figure it out. I started writing, not the perfect novel, just words, every morning. Most of it garbage. Some of it good, all of it real, all of it mine. I planned a trip to Portugal, alone. Didn't speak the language. Didn't have an itinerary, just went, got lost, got found, came home different. What matters is almost stupidly simple. Showing up for people who matter. Doing work that feels alive to you, not work that looks impressive to others. Saying yes to experiences before you're ready. Creating something instead of consuming. Being present instead of planning. I know what you're thinking, but I need to be smart about this. I can't just throw my life away on impulses. I need to think about my future. And yes, you do need to pay bills. I'm not telling you to quit everything and join a commune. I'm not telling you to be reckless. I'm telling you to stop using figuring it out as an excuse to avoid living. I'm telling you that clarity comes from action, not from thinking. I'm telling you that you learn who you are by living, not by analyzing. Here's a question, and I need you to answer honestly. Don't skip past this. Actually think about it. If nothing changed, if you never figured it out, if you never found your purpose, or your calling, or your path, if you just kept living, making mistakes, being uncertain, trying things, failing, succeeding, moving through life without ever having that moment of grand clarity, would that be enough? If the answer is no, then you're waiting for permission that will never come. You're waiting for certainty in a fundamentally uncertain universe. You're waiting for a green light that doesn't exist. You're waiting for someone, God, the universe, your parents, society, your future self, to tell you it's okay to live your life. And that moment won't come, because that's not how life works. Nobody is coming to save you from your own life. Nobody is going to hand you a manual. Nobody is going to give you permission. You just have to start. Messy, uncertain, imperfect. That's how everyone does it. They just don't tell you that part. I'm 67 years old. I still don't have it figured out. And you know what? I'm happier now than I ever was when I was trying to, because I finally understand something it took me 43 years to learn. Something I wish someone had screamed at me when I was your age. This is it. This moment. Right now. This is your life. Not the life you'll have when you figure it out. Not the life you'll have when you're ready. Not the life you'll have when you find your purpose. This one, the messy, uncertain, confusing one you're living right now. This is it. There's no dress rehearsal. There's no practice round. This is the actual thing. And you found this video for a reason. Not because the algorithm is magic. Not because of some mystical force. Because some part of you knows you've been waiting too long. Some part of you is tired of preparing. Some part of you is ready to stop searching and start living. Some part of you clicked on this video because it knew, something inside you knew, that you needed to hear this right now. I see you right now. I see you because I was you, stuck, paralyzed by options, afraid to make the wrong choice, afraid to waste time, so you end up wasting time by not choosing anything at all. You're in limbo, and limbo feels safe because you can't fail if you never start. You can't choose the wrong path if you never pick a path. You can't disappoint anyone if you never commit to anything. But you're failing right now. You're failing at being alive. You're failing at being present. You're failing at the only thing that actually matters, showing up for your own life. Every day you spend waiting is a failure. Every opportunity you postpone is a failure. Every relationship you put on hold is a failure. Every dream you defer is a failure. Not because you need to be perfect, because you need to be present